one of the great coaches of all time, Jimmy Johnson, the Hall of Famer. Fox Sports is now joining us live down, as you know, in the Keys. So listen, I would have voted him in, but my take is when a Lombardi or a Walsh or a Joe Gibbs or a Jimmy Johnson or a Parcells who won a Super Bowl with Jeff Hostetler and Sims, can you not argue, well, those guys had to wait. Why can't Bill? Isn't that a legit argument?
No, it's not. You're completely wrong, Colin, because coaches are a lot older than players. And you'd like to get the coach in before he's dead. And so, because of the age of coaches, it's not like, they're going to retire, when they're 31. They're going to retire when they're 65. And so because of the difference in the age, the coaches really need to go in, really before they get to the point where they can enjoy it.
When you were elected into the Hall of Fame, it was live on Fox TV, and you were not only emotional, so was everybody that works with you, because you've been at Fox, you've ingratiated yourself to a lot of people. Listen, Bill doesn't get along with the Krafts. I mean, he'd never gotten along with the media. I know that shouldn't matter, but stuff like that in life does matter. What about the whole pushback that, Bill's going to be in a year, but he poked the media in the ribs and some of those guys vote and he just shut them off and built up walls. What about that argument?
Well, I don't even think I've had 3 hours sleep ever since the news came out last night because it's so wrong. Look at the accolades. Look at all the division wins. Look at 8 Super Bowls, 6 of them as a head coach, second all-time winningest coach in history. And so I'm not going to talk about the accolades. I'm just going to say, okay, why did he not go in? I'm searching my own mind. Why did he not go in? Did Kraft, because him and Kraft were at odds at one another, did he have an influence? Did some of the media have an influence because he didn't give them an interview? He wasn't the most pleasant to the media back when he coached. You just don't know. Some of them use the excuse of Spygate, which is totally ridiculous. Every team in the league, before they had electronic communication from sideline to the field, every team in the league tried to steal the opponent's signals, whether or not it be an assistant coach studying the opponent on how he was signaling, whether or not they're doing one thing. We actually picked it up from Kansas City. Howard Mudd was a great offensive line coach, and they had some outstanding teams. But he was at Kansas City, and a scout told us, says, here's how we do it. We actually film the opponent's signal caller, then we match it up with the film with their signals. And so I said, hey, that's a great idea. We tried doing it. We were horrible at it. It really took up too much time because it's only got a few seconds that you can get it in. But we watched Kansas City. The offensive guard would look over at Howard Mudd on the sideline, and he'd give him a signal whether or not it was going to be man coverage or zone coverage or a blitz, et cetera, et cetera. So, like I said, we tried it. We didn't do very good at it. We stopped doing it after a couple of weeks. But, teams have been trying this, ever since, they had signals before they did the electronic communication.
You're not the only person that thinks Robert Kraft did not want to go in with Belichick. And listen, better than anybody. Owners want to get their way. Owners are very close with Roger Goodell because they're his boss. And do you think around the league, people in your space, legendary coaches, think Kraft has a lot to do with this?
Well, it could be because, for instance, there's a lot of media that said they want to have access to the New England Patriots. Well, who's going to give them access? Bob Kraft. And so if there is some tension between Belichick and Kraft, and maybe Kraft, he wants to go in before Belichick goes in. And I don't know this for a fact. There are a lot of different factors, but for some reason, these people, 10 or 11 or 12 voters did not vote for Belichick. And with his accolades and all of the championships, he deserved to go in first ballot, unanimously, and with no one voting against him.
Do you think he's bothered by it?
I think it hurts him. Yeah. Hey, Colin, we're all bothered by it. When you work as hard as coaches work, they're proud of what they accomplished. And Bill's proud of what he accomplished at New England. Yeah, he had a great quarterback, but how many pro Hall of Fame coaches didn't have a great quarterback? I had Troy Aikman. Noel had Terry Bradshaw. Walsh had, Joe Montana, on and on. And so you can't use that excuse. And see, the other thing, too, just knowing Bill personally, I don't know of a single person, yourself included, anybody that knows the history of the NFL like Bill Belichick. Anybody that ever watched him on TV picking the top 100 players in the history of the NFL could see the knowledge that he has about the league. He loves the NFL. He loves the history of the NFL. And, it's got to hurt him that he didn't go first ballot. I was with him at the national championship game, and I walked away, and he said, I hope to see you in the hall this year. And, I thought it was just going to be a slam dunk. And so I chartered a plane. I was going to fly a jet up to Canton to see him go in. Well, I canceled that flight. I'm not going.
Yeah. Again, I'd have voted him in. I've spent today saying we can all vent that he didn't get in, but let's add some context. Have we run the Seth Wickersham bite yet? I don't think we have. Seth Wickersham's a writer for ESPN. They did change the voting methodology this year, right. Which is weird. And I think all Hall of Fames get a little too personal and petty. So here's Seth Wickersham, great writer on Belichick and the voting process.
Belichick was expecting that he was going to get 49 votes. Like privately, that was his expectation, that he would get 49 votes. And obviously he didn't come close to 40. And I think that that's pretty interesting. And again, how that happened is really difficult. Like, it wasn't like the Hall of Fame wanted us to break this story yesterday. They didn't. And a lot of the voters didn't know that Belichick hadn't gotten in. You see a lot of their reactions on social media, and they were blowing up Don and I's phones for sure, saying, like, this is an embarrassment for all of us. We had no idea that Belichick didn't get in.
Yeah. Well, he will.
I think, because of the process, they had, like 5 candidates, and they picked 3 of the 5. Well, some of the media might have said, well, it's a slam dunk that Bill's going in.
That's right.
So I'm going to vote for so-and-so to help him get in because I know Bill's going in.
Yeah. And
so it could have been the process of picking the Hall of Fame candidates. But that's still no excuse. You pick the best, available. Hey, listen, I'm a coach, Colin. And, if a player doesn't go in, hey, I live with it. Okay, then he'll get a chance next year. But I know how great a coach Bill Belichick is.
What?
And for him not to go in first ballot is wrong.
What is his greatest asset as a coach? When you go fishing with him, what's the one thing you just think to yourself, man, he's different?
I'll give you the best and the worst. The best thing, he is a great situation coach. He's a great fundamental coach. He coaches all phases, special teams, offense, defense. He's a great game day coach. He's a great game plan coach to go ahead and take away what the opponent does best and, take advantage of that. He does all of those things. That's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Personnel-wise, hey, you can take him or leave him. Yeah. He did pretty good with some of the veterans. Some of his draft picks you're going to have questions about. Yeah. But as a coach, as a pure coach, he's the best I've ever known.
Wow. There we go. See, we did 12 minutes here on Belichick, who, again, I would have voted for him, but I do think it's interesting to just kind of contextualize all this stuff. Let me ask you one thing about the Super Bowl, because you've been in this thing and you know the weight. I'm going to focus on Darnold. Listen. He struggled with the Jets. He was 20 years old. He didn't have the right coach. It was man overboard. Are you surprised? Did you think he'd go toe to toe and play his best game? And you're one of the coaches. You may be the best ever at this. You were a great personnel coach. You could have just said, I don't need a GM. I'm going to draft. There's maybe only 2 or 3 coaches ever that could do that. So I'm interested in your perspective on Darnold. I thought he was too damn talented not to win some games. He was too talented. Did you, or were you shocked by what he did?
I agree with you 100%. Coming out of college there at SC, everybody says, okay, if you can cut his turnovers down, this guy can be a great, great quarterback. two things happened for him when Seattle. I think the experience of what he went through with the Jets, with Carolina, on and on, that experience, taught him to be more protective with the football.
Yeah.
The second thing, he's part of a great team. He's got a great defensive team. He doesn't have to carry that team on his shoulders. At Carolina, he had to carry that football team. He couldn't do it because he turned it over. Now he knows he's got a great defense. He knows that he can be patient, take his time, take the check downs, throw it here every now and then, take a shot, down the field. So I think the experience that he had and the team that he's with and the coaching that he's getting allowed him to be a great player. And, hey, Seattle right now, they look like the favorite in the Super Bowl.
Oh, they're good. Hey, I've got to mention the Miami Hurricanes. It's interesting.
Oh, boy.
So
they were so close.
So Mario Cristobal's reputation forever was great recruiter, but we had sort of labeled him as, I don't know if I love him as a game coach, situational coach, but man, I like his energy. Man, he can build a program. I watched them this year, and my take on Mario is he grew as a coach. Now, a lot of it is that D-line and that O-line's good, but coaches have a right to grow too, not just Sam Darnold and players. Your thoughts on what Mario did? Because at Oregon, the take was he doesn't win big games, but he's a hell of a recruiter. I don't know. I watched them in close games this year. I thought he really grew as a coach.
Well, I think he grew as a coach. He got a lot better. And you're right. He's a great recruiter. We just signed, the top quarterback, top transfer portal out of Duke here just recently, and the receiver, and got one of the top pass rushers from Missouri. So we've got the players. I think the two things, not only has he gotten better as a head coach, he's got some outstanding assistants. Corey Heatherton, there as a defensive coordinator, did a great job with that defense. If we'd have had that defense a year ago when we had Cam Ward, then nobody would have come close to us.
Yeah.
And the other thing is often Shannon Dawson's an outstanding offensive coach. So he's got some outstanding assistant coaches as well. And, hey, the reason I went into the Hall of Fame, I had great players and I had great assistant coaches. And so you got to have, if you're going to win championships, it can't be one individual. There's a lot of people involved in that.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Wannstedt, if you don't have Wannstedt, Uncle Dave.
Hey, Dave was important to me. North Turner was important to me.
Yep.
Troy Aikman did a nice little job. So, hey, so if you're going to win a championship, it can't be one individual. You got to have a team.
Great stuff. Coach, as always, it's wonderful seeing you. I love your fighting for Belichick. You're not sleeping, and I love that support and loyalty. Thanks.
All right, Colin. Good talking with you.
Yeah.